welcome to episode number 5 of The Daily Dog, SGPN's The Daily Dog. I'm Britton Hess, and I am your host, and I'm here to give you my 3 favorite Underdog fantasy plays of the day. If you're new to Underdog Fantasy, use promo code DAILYDOG, DAILYDOG, at underdogfantasy.com or on the app. That's promo code DAILYDOG for a deposit match bonus worth up to $250. So I want to start the show by saying thanks to a couple people who reached out to me on Twitter. Ontarianian and Clackamas Dave sent me some slips. I'm still leaving my DMs open. Yeah, they're officially open now. Clackamas Dave, thanks for pointing out that they were closed earlier. But tag me, at me, whatever, with any of the plays that you follow from this show. And I'm working something out with SGPN to try to get some gear for some of the early followers of this show. I mean, it'd be a double win if you get some gear because we've also been winning some money if you've been following. I mean, yesterday's plays did not go so well. We went 0 for 3, but I will take them all being on one slip as opposed to being spread across numerous slips because in the name of the game in Underdog is tying multiple plays together. If they all if you lose one, it's the same as losing all 3. I'm not happy that they all lost, but you know, it's going to come with the territory. You can't go 100% in this game. So I'll just look at those plays real quick. We had Yusei Kikuchi higher than 5 hits allowed against the Orioles today. Kikuchi ended up giving up 4 hits and then getting pulled at the end of the 6th inning after throwing 89 pitches. I thought there was a slight chance they might throw him out there for a couple of batters in the 7th. We had a chance to push on this, but it was not going to happen. It was not the hitter's day against Yusei Kikuchi. He looked pretty solid in the start, to be honest. Better than I was expecting, but it is what it is. Water under the bridge. The second one was Juan Soto over 1.5 total bases against Pablo Lopez and the Twins. I loved his matchup with Pablo Lopez. He had 30 at-bats against Lopez, was batting .333 against him, and Soto's eye got in the way. He walked twice in that game, which you kind of expect with Juan Soto. Sometimes that's why I don't usually put him in props that involve total bases. Sometimes I'll play hits, runs, and RBIs with him because he gets on base a lot and he drives in a lot of runs, but he doesn't necessarily get a ton of hits despite having a great batting average. He also, so he got walked twice by Lopez in that game, and he also got a forearm injury. There was a rain delay, and he didn't come back after that. So this play was kind of DOA after the first 2 walks. The last one was Javier Assad, who I thought was going to be able to shut down the Reds to an extent. That was not the case at all. He had his season worst game as far as hits allowed goes. He allowed 7. We had under 5. It did not come home, but like I said, at least all 3 of these plays were on one slip as opposed to being on 3 separate ones. There was a little bit of a silver lining if you are following me on Twitter at Britton Hess, or if you are on my YouTube, The Daily Dog SGPN. You saw the short I put out with a slip for using the promo that Underdog put out with Jason Tatum higher than half a point. On that slip, I paired it with Corbin Carroll over 1.5 total bases, which was a scorcher. He had 4 bases on the game. We had Pablo Lopez, Twins pitcher, to give up higher than 2.5 earned runs. He gave up 7, so that was good. And we also had, and by we, I mean me. It's literally, I'm not a team. It's me and my cat, and the cat does not contribute to this. But back to the subject at hand. It was after Pablo Lopez. We also had Carlos Correa higher than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He got a home run on his first at-bat, ended up with 5 hits, runs, RBIs combined in the game. So that one went well. That was turning $10, which is the max you can risk on these promo plays that include a prop like Tatum over half a point. That returned $121, so $111 net profit on that one. Happy to anybody who was able to tail it. I will be giving out more of these promo plays on shorts, so make sure you are following me on Twitter at Britton Hess, and you are subscribing to the YouTube channel. I promise you I'm not going to spam you with a bunch of stuff that's not relevant. Anytime I post on that channel, it's going to be because there are plays. It's going to be this podcast, or it's going to be a short where I'm giving out a slip, usually regarding a promo play on Underdog Fantasy. So that strategy too, it kind of seems crazy that I put a 12x slip together with that promo, but there's some reason behind that. And I will get into that in the end of the show because I don't want to bore you. You guys are here for plays, so let's get into the plays now. The first one is going to be Zach Neto, shortstop for the Angels, higher than half a total base against the Astros and Framber Valdez. So right now, Zach Neto, he's batting 254, nothing great. But on the year, he's batting 459 versus lefties. Lucky for him, Framber Valdez is a lefty. He's got hits in 6 of his last 10 games. 3 of those 4 where he didn't get a hit were against righty starting pitchers. The other one was against Carlos Rodon, who, as we all know, has been dominant in the first 5 innings of games so far this year. So I definitely, actually, if you look at Neto's numbers from the beginning of May, he's batting like 476 against lefties. So just imagine if he didn't have to face Rodon in that period. So but Neto has 9 at-bats in his career against Framber Valdez. He's only got 2 hits. Both of those are home runs. But I think Neto's only 23. He's a young player. He's still developing. And I think that the hits that he's put together lately, a lot of singles actually, has kind of built his confidence in just swinging a little bit more loosely for contact as opposed to just trying to make his at-bat count. He bats 8th in the order, but the Angels are actually really good against lefties. So they don't want to, they're not going to walk him. I mean, I don't know why Framber Valdez would intentionally walk Zach Neto at this point in his career. But the point is that they're going to have to pitch to him. And if Framber Valdez pitches to Zach 3-4 times in this game, I think that there's a really good shot he's going to get at least a single. The dude is also a guy who shows up late in games. He gets a lot of hits in the 8th and 9th inning versus relievers. So I love Zach Neto over half a total base against the Astros. And also in this game, I was looking at Framber Valdez higher than 5.5 hits allowed. I have a little bit too much respect for Framber to take that, despite the Angels being great against lefties and his recent form. I don't think it's a bad play by any means, but I'd rather have Zach Neto and just count on him to get one successful swing during the course of this game. Also, Taylor Ward, higher than 1.5 total bases in this game. He's got a great history against Framber Valdez with a ton of at-bats, but I think it's like 12 at-bats, 12 to 15 at-bats. Not a ton, but better than most players have versus one specific pitcher. And he's hit him well. I think he's like 450 or something like that. But the problem with Ward lately is he's kind of been a single home run or out guy a lot in the last month, which doesn't really help us in total bases, right? If he doesn't get a home run, then he might just have a single on the game, and I don't want to be stuck with 1.5 total bases in this matchup, especially since I think he's got like 1 home run versus Framber, and the rest have been singles. So I am much more comfortable with Zach Neto higher than half a total base. And Zach Neto is kind of like in the Otto Lopez category for me, a guy that performs well for his team. He's in the back of the order on a team at the bottom of the MLB. So his numbers aren't going to be overpriced like they would be with like an Aaron Judge home run, higher, lower. That like Judge to hit a home run is usually like 1.25x, 1.5x, which is really crazy. A guy like Zach Neto, you get really good value, even though that this is 0.8x. Next, I'm going to get to the pitchers. Actually, my next 2 plays are going to be on pitchers. The first is going to be Logan Webb, lower than 6.5 hits allowed against the Rangers. This is crazy for a pitcher like Logan Webb. He's got 13 starts. He's given up 7+ in 6 of those, so it seems a little scary. But that's not really the normal for him. Logan Webb. He's still a dominant ground ball pitcher. The Rangers are good against righties, but they're not a dominant righty hitting team. They have some players that are really good against righties, but not from 1 through 9. Also, Corey Seager is hurt. I think that Corey Seager is likely to not play in this game. I'm not an insider. I don't have inside information, but just knowing the caliber of player he is and knowing where the Rangers are in this season, I don't think they want to risk him going out there with a hamstring that's not right, trying to run to first base and get hurt for a month. I think they're going to at least let him have a few games off to try to recover and make sure he's fully 100% before he gets back in here. If Seager doesn't play, I think that that's a hit off the board. So 6.5 hits, lower than that for Logan Webb. And I think sportsbooks have already adapted to the fact that Seager is likely not going to be in this game. The line is juiced to the under at sportsbooks for under 6.5 hits for Logan Webb. With Seager out, I think that's what's causing this juice to swing. But on Underdog, you're getting a flat payout on this, so it's really good value. Next, I'm going to go to Justin Steele of the Cubs, higher than 5.0 hits against the Reds. So the Reds are not a dominant team versus lefties. They're a fine team versus lefties, but Justin Steele is nowhere near the peak of his power right now. In his last 4 games, which are the 4 games that he's been healthy enough to have a fairly normal pitcher workload, he's allowed 6 or more hits in 3 of them. The one where he didn't was against the Brewers, who are a significantly worse team against lefties than the Reds are right now. Also, Steele has started 3 games versus the Reds since the start of last year. He's given up 10, 8, and 7 runs in those games. Those 7, that happened on June 1st. He played against the Reds and gave up 7 hits. They knocked him around the yard a little bit. Individually, the Reds have 7 players with at least 1 hit versus Steele as well, so they have a lot of guys who know how to make contact on this guy. It's a divisional opponent, even although he's younger, and obviously there's a lot of young players on the Reds who haven't been around all that long. I think it's a good indicator that Justin Steele is not going to be, is not going to be getting people punched out at the plate, and these guys know how to get on base against him with their bats. So these 3 plays together are 4.8x return. We're already profitable this week. I'm happy to have this kind of be a medium-sized swing. I think that for the purposes of this show, when we're about 3x return on our investment, that's a pretty conservative play for what I like to do and what I like to give out. When we're between probably 4 to 5, it is about a medium size. And then when we are 6 or above, I'm taking a big swing. This is right in the middle. And again, we're already profitable this week, especially, whatever your unit size is, you are profitable if you've played all of my plays on this show. And if you got that little bonus with the $10 promo play, it's icing on the cake. So 4.8x. If you put $10 on this, you'll get 48 back. That's $38 in profit. I definitely think that it is worth playing. I gave out some of my other plays that I'm looking at. Framber Valdez hits over and Taylor Ward total bases over. I would wait for the board to fully populate on Underdog before locking those in, because there might be a way to attack the same handicap that I'm discussing with a little bit different of a number, whether it's Ward's higher, lower than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, or whether it's Framber Valdez's earned runs against. Because I do think that someone is going to go yard against Framber from the Angels. I just don't know how many people are going to be on base when that happens, and also I don't know how often it's going to happen. So there's a lot of homework to do tomorrow before this game has first pitch. But that said, I'll reiterate what the 3 actual plays are for the show today. They are Zach Neto, shortstop of the Angels, higher than half a total base against the Astros. They are Logan Webb, lower than 6.5 hits allowed against the Texas Rangers, and Justin Steele, higher than 5 hits allowed against the Reds. That is for a 4.8x multiplier, and if you're new to Underdog, use promo code DailyDog when entering that slip. Now at the end, I'm going to throw in some tennis talk. Tennis is obviously early in the morning, so it's not going to be relevant to most people, so it doesn't make much sense to start the show with this. But I'm going to talk about the Alcaraz Sinner match. I actually think Sinner has a really good shot to win this. He's more tested at the tournament this year than Carlos has. He's played 2 Frenchmen, which is never fun to do at Roland Garros. He, took care of business versus Grigor Dimitrov in his last match. And overall, I think that he is kind of flying under the radar somehow at the French Open, despite him being a very high-class clay player and, arguably the world number 1 at this very moment after he won the Aussie Open, by defeating so many great champions in that run. Carlos has had kind of an easy run. I know he just, took care of business versus Stefanos Tsitsipas, but if you were paying attention to the show, we knew that Tsitsipas is not a guy who steps up to the plate versus high-level competition. He kind of folds early, and that's exactly what happened in that match. I think that both guys are going to at least win 1 set in this match, so if there's a way to attack that you like, I would definitely take it. On the other side, I think that Zverev is going to beat Casper Ruud. I know Casper Ruud's been in the finals of French Open the last 2 years, but Z is just on a mission. He's got a lot to prove. He's got some off-the-court stuff happening that I think is weighing heavy on him. Or not weighing heavy on him, it's motivating him. And I think that he's looking as good as he's looked in at least 2 years right now. So I think Zverev is going to win that match. Lastly, I just wanted to say thanks again to the guys who hopped on Twitter, and I'm at Britton Hess on Twitter, BrittonHess, who sent me their slips. If anyone else would like to do that, you can DM me or tag me or at me, and I'll take a look, and I am going to get something together, some sort of drawing or, a promo code or something for some SGPN gear, because I do appreciate you guys hopping onto this new show, and I'm happy that you guys are able to cash with me. Oh, and then the last thing. So just strategy with using these $10 promos at Underdog. I'm not a guy who likes to unit shame. I'm not somebody who's like, oh, if you're not betting a K or if you're not betting a dime or a nickel on every play, then what are you even doing? You know, everyone's in a different situation, and I will not look down on that. But my personal strategy is that generally on Underdog or any sort of sports play, I'm going to be risking substantially more than $10. However, when I am given an opportunity to add a leg to my slip, like Jason Tatum higher than half a point, I want to try to maximize that. So I will be looking for, including scorchers. I'll be looking to include scorchers like Corbin Carroll was, and so was Pablo Lopez in our slip today. But I'll also be looking for home run props and stuff like that, because I think that you're getting such good expected value when you put a lock into your lineup. If you have a sports betting background, and obviously Underdog is not the same as sports betting, but it's got a lot of parallels. And if you're in a sports betting background, you know that like if you're making a 3-leg, 4-leg parlay, but you have absolute 100% certainty that one of those minus 110 legs is going to hit, that makes the implied odds of your parlay so much better. So I like to try to take some bigger shots with these $10 promos. Some of them are 15, so I just stay tuned on Twitter, stay tuned on YouTube. I am going to be firing these when the opportunity arises, because they're very important for building and maintaining your bankroll. And I think that a lot of people kind of think they're gimmicks, but if you know how to attack them the right way, this is how you really get ahead in these Underdog and other similar apps markets. You have to use the promos, because the odds of just showing up Monday through Friday like I do on this show and just playing straight pick'ems and just slaughtering the board for months and months on end, that's really tough to do. I mean, I'm confident I can do it. I bet like this since long before I even was in Underdog. I was playing hit props, parlays, 2 and 3 leg parlays, for as long as those have been a thing. So I do know how to attack these markets. Hopefully that's shown so far in this in this short run of this show. There's going to be plenty more where that came from. I've gone way too long. This is supposed to be a 10-minute show. But thank you all for tuning in, and stay subscribed and stay following, and let's make some money.